Welcome to Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire, where the opening event of the 2024 karting season sees drivers from 6 years of age battling to win the prestigious UK plate to use on their kart for the rest of the season. With a turnout of more than 120 drivers, you can expect close racing and excitement throughout. Before we get underway with racing, the organiser of the championship, Alan Lord, joins me with Chris Hall, who's the race director. Alan, the development of independent kart racing over the last 5 years particularly has made it easier to take part in karting without the need for what can be an expensive race licence that can act as almost a barrier to entry. But just explain the protocols that are in place to ensure safe racing and a level playing field for all the drivers.
Okay, well, first of all, we do actually run under a governing body, the IOPD, with a licence, but we incorporate that cost within the registration fee. So it's of no additional cost to the driver, really. That means running under a governing body that we've covered loads of bases. All of our staff are permitted by that governing body, the IOPD, as well as myself and all the drivers. So the protocols that are put in place, we have Chris here on race direction. We have Mike O'Connell, clerk of the course. We have Luke on timing. And we have Ben on the start-finish line. Obviously, we have 2 scrutineers. The whole purpose of it is to try and keep this on a level playing field. So a lot of our classes, the Pro Karts, and also our guest classes, the Tillotsons, and the Pro Karts are a sealed engine, so there's not a lot you can do with them. They're restricted on tyres, which keeps the actual price down. So our entry price, we feel, is really, really good. But also, ongoing costs are pretty good, because we're restricting the amount of tyres you can use. There's nothing you can do to the engine. It's all going to come down to the driver. That's the same with Junior Pro Kart and Senior Pro Kart. Also with the cadets, we also run the Coma Bambinos, which we obviously heavily scrutineer, and also the Tillotsons and the Tyros at the moment. And that's the whole idea, whole ethos is to try and keep karting affordable as best as it possibly can be, whilst also not skimping on the safety levels. We have the doctors, paramedics here. We also have all of our team. Mike, who's our clerk of the course, is also a paramedic, so it helps that we've got one as part of the team as well.
Okay, and Chris, if I can just come to you, the different classes that the viewers will see today, we've got Bambinos, drivers from 6 years of age, all the way through to adults. What's the dynamic in terms of dealing with drivers who, you may have an incident in a Bambino race, for example? The rules and regulations are the same for everybody, aren't they, whether they're 6 years of age or 26 years of age, I guess. But what's the sort of dynamic there in terms of dealing with people when there's some sort of issue on track that you need to deal with?
Okay, so yes, the rules and regulations are the same for all classes, basically, when it comes to track. Circuit safety and driver safety is utmost for us. But with the Bambinos, there has to be a little bit of leniency, and you tend to more be dealing with the dads rather than the kids themselves. Trying to talk to a 6-year-old racer, they don't necessarily take it very well. They get all upset. So it's sometimes a lot easier to pass it through the dads. And with the adults, especially with the Pro Kart class, it's a different dynamic of racing, and they tend to look after themselves quite a lot. They'll sort their own problems out in the paddock unless we really need to step in.
There's 120 drivers here this week, Alan, and happy with this weekend in terms of the numbers?
Yeah, very. We put it on as a one-off promo event for the season. We realised that, obviously, because it's a one-day event and it's in winter, we're not going to get the same draw as we'd normally get at most race weekends. The one-day events doesn't suit everybody because it's a little bit crammed in. But yeah, I'm looking at good. We've got an absolutely cram-packed Pro Kart grid. Tillotson grid is big. The Coma, although slow at the last minute, dived in, and we've got, I think, 14 to 16 Comas out there. Yeah, for a winter round, I'm very happy with it. And obviously the idea is to help, by you guys coming along and filming it, it's a way of us promoting that. That's what this whole day's about.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about Wilton Mill here. Fantastic circuit, great layout, but the facilities over the last few years here, circuit owner's done a fantastic job, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Roger, who owns the circuit here, has invested heavily into it. The team here are excellent. They do an excellent job. As you say, there's been no money skimped on the facilities. They're always upgrading it, as you can see by the clubhouse we're in now and the restaurants and what have you. But the circuit itself is the improvements every time we come. Can't fault them. Brilliant.
Well, we're here to bring you all the 6 finals today, but before we get underway with those, here's a bonus race for you before the finals get underway. It's the last of the 3 heats for the Tyro Mini and Honda R200 classes. On track at the same time in a split grid, 7 drivers in the Honda class, 8 in the Tyro Mini class. Here are the grid positions with my commentary colleague Jake Sanson, fresh from international duties, racking up those air miles, Jake. Dubai, India, where else you been?
Basingstoke. I was thinking of getting a yellow Reliant Regal with black writing on the side. Lewis Dean and Evan Rye on the front row of the grid then. Austin Mayhew and Dylan Suresh. Then Restel, Avesi and Thomas Stevens rounding out the field. And then in the Tyro Minis, we have Jacob Aston and Mattis Minikas from Max Flatley, Sam Skellett, Hayden Burling, Jack Griggs, Liam Stimson and Chris Mayo rounding out the field. Greasy conditions at Wilton Mill. We should get plenty of spicy action then as the drivers come through. There are the Tyro Minis looking to get themselves up to speed very soon indeed. Not entirely sure why, but Thomas Stevens appears to be out of position and he's actually going slow as we begin the race, going slowly through. And already Dylan Suresh has gone wide then, off on the grass, through the opening turn. The back end kicks out and he finds himself on the runoff area on the far side. As we head into Christmas for the first time, it's Lewis Dean who leads the race then in front of Ayrton Rye and a very feisty Austin Mayhew trying to get his way in a second position. Can he find the line on the inside? He's going to have to wait.
Further back in the Tyro Minis, Jacob Aston should have been on pole. He's gone through in 4th place through the line.
Well, Mayhew's just got into 2nd place, so he did actually make the move then on the way. And that is very cleverly done because he decided he was backing out of the move and then thought, actually, on the exit, I can have this. So he's managed to get himself in a 2nd position regardless at the expense of Ayrton Rye. And now Austin Mayhew has a chance to take on Lewis Dean. They go through the toe of the boot, up towards the heel, and then onto the main straight once again. As we go up towards Crook and Oblivion, look at the Tyro Minis there having a fantastic battle. A spin there, unfortunately, as Chris Mayo finds himself beached then on the grass. That is a very messy position to be in.
Back with the lead battle then for the Honda R200s. It's Dean from Mayhew and Ayrton Rye rather. And that's Jacob Aston pictured. He's a race leader in the Tyro Minis as they go through the line.
So Hayden Burling in 2nd position in the O-plate, then Skellett, Minikas, Griggs, Flatley and Liam Stimson. So it is already a big lead that Jacob Aston has built up. Look at that, Hayden Burling trying to fend off from Sam Skellett. And then we've got Minikas right in the mix there. So Skellett looking for his chance to go for Hayden Burling. Looking for another opportunity as back to the on the R200s we go. And Lewis Dean does not have a lot on Austin Mayhew. Mayhew's going to try from the toe of the boot. That is brave. Managed to make his way through in the radius of the apex and has stormed through to the lead. That was brave moving.
Got Chris Mayo ahead of the Hondas there. He's going to be a little bit of a roadblock. And it's how you deal with the traffic in these grids where you've got 2 classes effectively on track at the same time. This is the battle for the lead. Honda 200 with Austin Mayhew. I think he's the driver in front.
Well, I think Fenech Havesi just made the move on Rebecca Restel, so that was a lovely bit of overtaking into Christmas, and they were caught out there by the positioning of the back marker. So Havesi was able to take full advantage of just being slightly out of position and managed to make the jump. Big wobble from Ayrton Rye. Goodness me, he was lucky to get that pointed in the right direction. As there we have Restel still battling away with Fenech Havesi. There he is. P4 now, having started 2 positions back on the grid, so working his way forward as the top 3, Mayhew, Dean and Rye, are still having a great position, a great battle, and Dean is not letting Austin Mayhew get away here.
Yeah, Chris Mayo looks like he's disappeared from the track. He may have retired 2 laps down as they've gone through, so this is the battle, the top 3 for the lead. It's a battle for the lead up the inside into Christmas corner, and a change of leader.
Is it going to work though? Because right around the outside, Mayhew holds on from Ayrton Rye. So Dean has ended up being shuffled down to 3rd position. Rye has seen an opportunity to go for the lead. Mayhew says, is that all you've got? Round the outside at Christmas, there's plenty of grip as far as I'm concerned.
Not a fantastic number of drivers in each of the classes, but you don't need a great number of drivers when you've got 3 drivers like this who are all on the same level, and they're giving us a great battle.
Yeah, quality will always substitute quantity. A big twitch from Austin Mayhew on the way through at the boot. Oh, and trips over Thomas Stevens. He was so lucky that he was able to hold on to the lead there. That was very tricky. So Stevens gets out of the way and allows Fadekavesi and Rebecca Restall now to go through. The battle for second position in Tyro Mini. It's all the way through the field. Burling, Skellett, Minicast, Griggs and Flatley very close in together. Liam Stimson just trying to stay with them and dropping back gradually. This is fantastic up towards the tight right hairpin again. Is Ayrton Wright going to get his chance now on Mayhew? Mayhew still holding fast in the lead as they go back up towards the double left-hander on the run to the latter part of the lap. And Ayrton Wright looking very hungry in here behind Austin Mayhew.
Great pictures as usual from the drone, giving a great overall view of the circuit and the battles on track. This is the battle for the lead in the Honda R200s. These top three going at it hammer and tongs, and the Tyro Mini class from second down to sixth place. That's also kicking off big time.
Wilton Mill, always a fantastic race circuit for battles, and boy do we have one here as Austin Mayhew continues to lead Ayrton Wright, with Lewis Dean hungry to pick up the pieces if they were to squabble, and it looks as though we might get one of those. Look at the duel for B2. Burling, Skellett, Minicast, Griggs, Flatley swapping positions. There goes the move up the inside from Flatley, gets the run there and up into position, and also a good move there as Skellett gets alongside Hayden Burling to move into second position. Burling doesn't look like he's done yet, but Minicast might get the run. He does indeed. Up into third position then goes Matas Minicast. So that is Sam Skellett up into second. Up to third comes Matas Minicast. Hayden Burling down, but up the move comes Minicast. Onto the inside now into Christmas and manages to get second, but just about leaves the space. He had to there, and as a result, Skellett actually loses 2 places, not 1.
Incredible battling, and how lucky are we that we were supposed to be just filming the finals today, but we've set up early, so we're bringing you this. We've just got enough time in the programme, and what a fantastic race this is. This is the third of the 3 heats for Honda R200s, and this is the Tyro Mini class, so 2 distinct classes on track at the same time on a split grid. But we're doing our best to bring you all the action. It's plenty of it.
Yeah, up the inside once again. That's Skellett on Burling. So Burling has to give best. They just about managed to go around there. And there's warning for contact out on the circuit. That is Austin Mayhew. The race leader has been given a warning there for contact in Honda R200. My goodness, that is drama as Flatley now tries to make his move on the inside of Hayden Burling in Tyro Mini, and Jack Griggs is just waiting in the wings.
We've not seen what that warning was for, but he's dropped a place, Jake, as they've gone through the line. We didn't see what's happened.
And what's happened to Lewis Dean? Lewis Dean has gone. So Lewis Dean,
down to 5th.
He's dropped all the way down 8 seconds back from the leader Ayrton Wright. So whatever happened to them, there's a reason why Austin Mayhew has been given a warning then. Perhaps he is the instigator. Certainly the officials think so. This man, though, Ayrton Wright, is the absolute beneficiary. He's now got himself a decent advantage over Austin Mayhew and no Lewis Dean to panic about.
Yeah, so Austin Mayhew and Lewis Dean have had some sort of collision, which has left Ayrton Wright out front. It's got a comfortable lead, it looks like now, just over half a second. That's comfortable enough in karting. Austin Mayhew still there in second, but Dean down to 5th. Ferences Havasi in 3rd, Rebecca Restall is 4th, and Dylan Suresh, he's running again after his early dramas, but he's down in 6th place.
Well, there is Chris Mayo. He has actually managed to get himself going again after his early traverse into the grass and into the mud. So now there goes Ayrton Wright to lap him. Through they come again. Nicely done from Ayrton Wright. He's got full of confidence now that he's got that little bit of space. There is Matas Minicas. He lives over in Bradford in Yorkshire. Doing a fantastic job as he continues on his way, having got himself into that second position spot. He's still got pressure from Sam Skellett. Don't think for a moment that Skellett isn't going to go for the move, but Minicas, having worked his way into second position, now has a little bit of authority to keep himself in the mix there as they come down the straight into Crook and out through Oblivion. They will go once again and up Manuel's Bank.
Yeah, just around 10 or 11 seconds on the clock as they went through the line. The clock will count to 0 when it gets to 0, and the Hondas go through the line. They'll get the last lap board from the starter. That is the 20 Karting Minicast with the 25 just in behind. of Sam Skellett. It's between these two for second and third in Tyrone Mini.
Here he goes, trying to challenge for the inside line, but it's not going to happen as Matas Minikas still holds firm and keeps himself in position. Here we go then, the Honda R200s are on the final lap. And Ayrton Rai has now managed to extend to about 2 seconds on Austin Mayhew. There is Ayrton Rai, looking very good. We saw briefly Lewis Dean closing up on Rebecca Restel, but he might not have enough time to move up into 4th position before the end of the heat. Certainly though for Ayrton Rai, 2 seconds clear. And as Austin Mayhew dives up the inside of the 27 of Liam Stimson, he is going to be perfectly okay to run in 2nd place. Fenwick Havesi doing a good job there in 3rd position ahead of Rebecca Restel. Restel is actually now seeing Lewis Dean behind her as she checks over the shoulder, but Ayrton Rai sees the checkered flag. That's heat 3 going his way. Austin Mayhew in 2nd position, very nicely taken in front of Fenwick Havesi. And then Rebecca Restel is just about going to finish in front of Lewis Dean. Yes, but only just. Dean did his best, couldn't quite catch up in time. Dylan Suresh managing to recover in P6, and Jacob Ashton is going to dominate Tyrone Mini.
Good effort by Dylan Suresh, Jake. 11.7 seconds behind in the end, but he was well behind on that opening tour. And don't forget, the final is going to be coming up. It's going to be the last race in this programme, in fact. Be interesting to see what Dylan can do in that final.
Sam Skellett will just about hang on to 2nd position from Matas Minikas, having now managed to fight his way there. The checkered flag will be coming up. Here they are out of the final turn, and it will be the 20 of Matas Minikas. My apologies, he did manage to get back through on Sam Skellett on that last lap. So Ayrton Rai taking the win in the first of the classes, Honda R200, Austin Mayhew from Fenwick Havesi, and then Rebecca Restel, Lewis Dean recovering to P5 in front of Dylan Suresh. Thomas Stevens did make the flag, albeit 2 laps away from the dais. However, things were a little bit different in Tyrone Mini. Jacob Ashton taking the win by 12.9. Matas Minikas hanging on though in front of Sam Skellett after a terrific battle. Jack Griggs, Hayden Burling and Max Flatley all playing good supporting roles. Liam Stimson a lap away, and despite his spin onto the grass, Chris Mayo able to bring it home to the flag in 8th position. A good start. The age-old question, when do you start racing to get to Formula One? Well, these guys are as young as 6. Calman Simon and William Wainwright, along with Arthur Bowers and Logan Hodgetts, Riley Aston Wilkins and Henry Hales from Ben Sliver and Felix Tandy, then Arlo Gamble and Jack Swong. A very competitive Mini Bambino field. And we also have Louis Wilson, Leo Hunt, Christian Doshi and Santo Amico to finish off the field. So the drivers coming through. Oh, looks like we've had a spinner on the formation lap. Quite common in Bambino. Give them a little bit of grace. Don't forget these guys are only 6 years old, some of them. It was Ben Sliver just losing the back end of the kart, but fortunately he'll be able to bring it back to the grid. Standing start, of course, in Bambinos, because it's generally much safer for a standing start than it is for a rolling start. You've got to remember that these guys are incredibly early in their motor racing journey.
Yeah, Benjamin Sliver, it was with the BM plate on his kart that we saw spinning on that formation lap. I'm not sure, Jake, what the BM... I've not seen a BM plate before. I'm assuming that's going to be maybe a Bambino Masters event that he's taken part in and won that plate. So anyway, he's going off, should be going off P7.
Yeah, you certainly only get numbers replaced by letters when it's for a title of some description, so that'll be what it is. The race is underway, and this is, of course, the Bambino final of the UK Kart Series here at Wilton Mill. A couple of drivers spinning in the middle of the field there, and I think one of them was Sliver, the other one was Henry Hales, so they just nudged each other a little bit there through oblivion, and already we've got some battles. As up the inside, Will Wainwright is going to be joined by Logan Hodgetts, and there is a spinner further back, it's Bowers. So Arthur Bowers has spun at Christmas. Hopefully he'll be able to get going again. And with the Ayrton Senna tribute lead, that is Calman Simon trying to break through into 2nd position. But for the moment, it is Wainwright in front of Hodgetts and Calman Simon as they work their way through the midsection of the lap.
Now, the interesting thing is, Jake, Calman Simon and Logan Hodgetts, both of them were racing at Wilton Mill. Jack Swong there pictured. He's from Hong Kong this weekend, long journey. We want to get a decent result. But Logan Hodgetts and Calman Simon, that is Calman Simon pictured, running in P2 currently. They were both pretty much midfield runners, I want to say, really, at Hoop Park last year. That's Logan Hodgetts pictured there in P3. The man out front is William Wainwright. But it's great to see. I know we always talk about seeing the kids improving And Simon in second, Hodgetts in third.
Oh, look at the move from Simon. That is so brave going into Crook.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say second and third. Now he's leading it. So always great to see these kids improving.
It really is. And I tell you what, if he's able to make a brave move like that at the age of 6, goodness me, what will he do at 16? That is absolutely terrific conviction from Kalman Simon, threading the eye of the needle there in one of the toughest parts of the circuit to get it right. He can be very happy indeed with that. Also, Santo Amico started at the back, has got himself into the top 10, so nice bit of legwork there from Santo to move his way further forward, but it's Kalman Simon with an absolute peach of an overtake. That is really impressive.
Yeah, he was racing last year. I think that was his first year, so he may be, I'm not sure what his age will be this year. Could be 7, could even be 8, I suppose. 6 to 8 of the kids here. This is the youngest karting class in the UK, Bambino class.
Just to pick up on what you were saying earlier, this is not really about winning and losing at this point. This is all about development. It's all about progress. And these guys are having to do it on the job, under the gaze of the microscope of motorsport broadcasting. So it's incredibly tough. And these guys doing it absolutely brilliantly. Simon now in front of Wainwright and Hodgetts. 4th place, Riley Ashton Wilkins with that famous 44. We've got a terrific duel for 5th position. Felix Tandy ahead of Jack Swong now, having made that beautiful move in Oblivion. Look at Arlo Gamble and Louis Wilson. They've got momentum off the turn, and that's going to be Gamble through past Jack Swong into P6 at Christmas. Tidy it up on the exit, cut the line back again, and he's done that nicely. Jack Swong does have a bit of momentum though as they come up to the next turn. Beautiful placement from Gamble. He can't go left, can't go right. P6 is his for now. We continue on with the Bambino final in UK Kart Series at Wilton Mill, and that famous Ayrton Senna helmet is in front of a motor race once again, only this time it's Kalman Simon who is in defensive mode, trying to keep William Wainwright and Logan Hodgetts at bay. Riley Aston Wilkins keeping a very careful but also very threatening brief there. And then we have the battles further back. Felix Tandy having worked his way into 5th position, doing well. There is the BM plate of Ben Sliver. We've still got a terrific run for the race victory. Simon, Wainwright and Hodgetts very evenly matched. And as they go through Crook and Oblivion, up towards Manuel's Bank on the run to Christmas, you can see that Kalman Simon trying to sense where Wainwright is going to be. There's enough space, but you're going to have to leave a little bit more. He decides to cut back around, give Wainwright the position, but on the exit, Kalman Simon has good placement. Wainwright shoves him, and off onto the grass goes Kalman Simon. He was squeezed there to the grass.
Yeah, I don't think the driver in front, though, did anything wrong, Jake. I think Kalman was trying to force it down the inside, and that was always going to close that gap. So William Wainwright has got the lead back, and it is Logan Hodgetts now. Kalman Simon's got to take the positives out of the weekend. He's been super quick this weekend, but it's all gone pear-shaped for him in the final.
Yeah, the onus is on the race leader. The race leader can dictate the racing line there, and Wainwright obviously holding his line perfectly as he's entitled to do.
Yeah.
So it's one of those moments. Kalman Simon, a racing incident there. Neither driver, you can really say, did anything untoward. There is a warning.
He's getting a warning.
Yeah, he got the warning actually, Kalman Simon. So they clearly feel we're just a little bit aggressive in trying to get the lead back again, maybe. But hey, he is in a fantastic position still. He's got time to make this up again, and you watch, he's going to try and charge his way back into contention once more. He's down in about 10th position.
He is 10th. He's gone through in 10th. A little bit harsh to get a contact warning there, Jake, when you've actually gone off the track as well. But yeah, I agree. William Wainwright did absolutely nothing wrong there, had the lead. Kalman looking for a move down the inside. He's dropped 2 wheels off the track. There's a little bit of a dip there as he goes onto the grass, and he's just lost the back end. Yeah,
it's racing. You're going to have incidents like that when you're battling for the lead. You see a gap, you go for it. That's what racing drivers are supposed to do. And considering that Kalman Simon is wearing an Ayrton Senna helmet, if he doesn't live up to that mantle, then he probably isn't deserving of wearing the helmet. So absolutely right from Kalman Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to go for it. But this time it's not worked out for him. But was down in 10th place at the end of the last lap. Right, but he's going to come through the field
here.
He's
closing up. He's closing up on this 5th place battle. Look at him. You've got Felix Tandy with a bit of a gap in 4th position. But then you've got Gamble, Hunt, Wilson, Wong, Sliver. That is a very tidy and very close battle. All that takes is a little bit of badinage between them, and all of a sudden, Kalman Simon is all over that.
Arlo Gamble. Gamble, a famous name in karting, Jake. I wonder if he's a relative of Tom.
Yeah, could well be. I mean, Arlo Gamble is probably going to be about the right sort of age if a member of the family is going to start to get. Check this out. This is Sliver going to make the bid here on the inside of not just Wilson, but also Arlo Gamble. That really took some powerhouse courage. Very nicely done there from Sliver. That puts him from 8th position now up into P6. That's some great racecraft, and he doesn't look like he's done yet either.
Now, don't forget, he was the driver that spun off through Oblivion at the start through turn 2, Jake, so he was facing the wrong way, and he's come all the way back now into 6th place. It makes you wonder what he would have done had he not had that unfortunate incident at the start of the race.
Very true, and now he's putting pressure on Leo Hunt in the black and red machine. 3 wide, and look, Calvin Simon's got himself into that run of drivers now, in there with Jax Wong. So Calvin Simon right up into the mix, as William Wainwright has now got himself that crucial bit of breathing space on Logan Hodgetts, has now got himself a gap, and that's what you need, just to have that little bit of confidence to carry you further forward. But Calvin Simon has had a beautiful lap, going from 10th position now up to 7th. He's got time to get himself into the top 5 here.
Yeah, so that progression from Hooton Park last year, where he was well behind the leading driver on that occasion, just showing how much he's improved, Calvin Simon, as has indeed Logan Hodgetts as well. And William Wainwright out front. This is the battle for 4th overall.
And this is all about confidence, as we've mentioned before. You need to have, you know, your own pace of development. You need to have that level of confidence. Here comes Sliver, now trying desperately to make his way past Krishan Doshi without tripping over him. And has he got ahead of Felix Tandy? He has. So he's up to 4th position now, Sliver. He's having a terrific charge through. And here comes Calvin Simon as well, diving through to the inside of Leo Hunt. That's going to be a squeeze from Felix Tandy, and there's just a little conflagration. Poor Krishan Doshi has nowhere to go. He's the meat in the sandwich, unfortunately, as everybody else tries to get out of it. Calvin Simon's actually come out of that in a good position ahead of Felix Tandy, but as a result, the chain reaction means that they all drop back from Ben Sliver. Sliver's now got 4th position, pretty much wrapped up on a silver plate.
That is a great performance, by the way, for Ben Sliver after that early off. This is a great comeback drive. Can he get a top 3? Can he get a trophy out of this weekend?
Look at Louis Wilson. He's now really going after Leo Hunt, and I'm actually quite confident that Henry Hales is going to have a move or two up his sleeve. He's getting quite hungry. They come up to the right-hander. Through they go. You can use a little bit of the runoff, just not too much of it, otherwise it gets very greasy. Arlo Gamble, unfortunately, down to 11th position as a result of all of that. Santo Amico and Arthur Bowers still circulating, as is Krishan Doshi, just a little further back. And Felix Tandy still trying to keep close to Calvin Simon, who leads his little duel. And then you've got Leo Hunt in front of Louis Wilson, Henry Hales and Jax Wong. There's your leader, William Wainwright, in front of Hodgetts and Riley Aston Wilkins, who's actually setting personal bests at the moment. And that's the reason why. Look at the gap between Wainwright and Hodgetts. That's grown big time.
Yeah, that's a problem for Logan Hodgetts. He's got a problem with his kart, Jake. You don't suddenly fall 4 seconds behind when you were right with the leader. That is a problem. Could be a stuck brake, something like that, but he's certainly got a problem mechanically. So Hodgetts there in 2nd. It's interesting, though, if Sliver hadn't have had that early off and Simon hadn't have gone off, we could be looking at a four-way battle here for the win. As it is, it's going to be Wainwright that takes it. Logan Hodgetts now just trying to hold on to 2nd.
Yeah, he's definitely got issues with the kart. The lap times have dropped big time, and yeah, it's definitely not the same kart that he had earlier on, isn't it? But here comes William Wainwright. A victory, very well deserved. It would have been for anybody in that triumvirate of races earlier on, but Will Wainwright is the one who's been able to hold on to it and hold on to the kart. The checkered flag comes, and he is absolutely jubilant. Too right. Fabulous drive. Hodgetts is just going to hang on to 2nd place in front of Riley Aston Wilkins, who's very happy with a 3rd place finish. What about Ben Sliver? Will he hang on in front of Calvin Simon, who is absolutely charging? Yes, he does. So Sliver comes home in P4 in front of Calvin Simon. And then Felix Tandy, good racecraft from him in that one to bring it home in 6th position. That's what I love to see, though. The drivers coming through, absolutely ecstatic in the top 10. They are just happy to be here, happy to learn, and happy to elevate themselves every time they go racing. Wainwright in front of Hodgetts and Aston Wilkins, then Sliver and Calvin Simon, Felix Tandy in front of Leo Hunt, Louis Wilson, Arlo Gamble and Jax Wong.
Yeah, one more lap and Riley Aston Wilkins would definitely have got in front of Logan Hodgetts. He had all sorts of problems with his karts, but great performances by Ben Sliver and Calvin Simon despite their early offs. But looks good for next time. Look forward to seeing Calvin Simon at our coverage at Hooton Park coming up in the next few months.
Time to get ourselves ready then for the cadet final here at Wilton Mill. You can see the drivers warming up the tyres and brakes, but it's really tricky. We're at that critical point in a race circuit as well. It's February, it's Wilton Mill, so rain is usual, but there's moisture in the air, and that's going to make things very tricky. It could even end up with a little bit of psychological rain, as they call it, in the middle of the race. Oh, that's Rocco Geraghty! So Geraghty loses the back end of the car. So easy to do on cold tyres when it's this greasy. So hopefully he'll be able to get back into position. For the moment though, Margaris Kavekis and Cian Sullivan are going to be on the front row. Geraghty hopefully will get back into P3 along with Albie Smith. Then Luke McGall, Matthew Plant, Archie Rutter and Harvey Turner sharing row 4. Then Lorenzo Martin and Rowan Marshall. On the 6th row of the grid, we actually have Alistair Saunders and Rebecca Restel. Will Davison, though, is the lone 160 driver and is down on power by 40 cc's and yet is ahead of several of the other contenders in the field. That's very impressive from Will Davison and definitely worth keeping an eye on when we get underway.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. This is another standing start, by the way. And because it's a standing start, the 13 kart there, Rocco Geraghty, will be able to recover his P3 position. If this was a rolling start, Jake, he would not be able to do that.
Yes, indeed. That's a belated Christmas present for him, isn't it? He's very lucky about that. Now, a couple of the drivers look to me like they're not quite in position. Somebody working on Ted Fry's kart to the right of your picture. So just making sure that Ted Fry is in the correct position. Oh, we've got a couple of drivers who are not quite sure. That's Aidan Ingram and Alistair Saunders getting himself back in front of Will Davison.
Jenga for karts, Jake.
It is a little bit,
Jenga
yeah.
for karts.
It's a bit like Go Fish, isn't it, when you played it round in the nightclubs. But unfortunately, a couple of drivers not quite in position, so that means we need to shuffle the deck. But look, let's give these guys a little bit of grace. We have to remember, this is not like football or rugby or tennis or cricket when you've got all that pressure taken away from you. None of those under 18 clubs or under 15s or reserves or juniors, those matches are never televised.
No.
All those mistakes are behind closed doors.
We've said this before, biggest sport in the world, football. If you're in America, I know you like calling it soccer, but the real name is football.
Yes.
Let's get it right. Football. Do you ever see 6-year-old kids? We've already seen the Bambinos in this programme so far. 6-year-old kids in a high-quality TV programme. Now, I call it high quality, obviously. But, 6-year-old kids on TV. You don't see it in other sports, not least football, which is the biggest sport in the world. We're going to take a short break while we get the grid sorted.
So let's get things under starters' orders then in the Honda Cadet Final here in the UK Kart Series at Wilton Mill, where so many incredible motor racing careers have begun. It's not just in the worlds of Formula One as well. A lot of drivers have gone on from here to the world of Indianapolis, to Bathurst, to the Le Mans 24 Hours. Amazing facilities, great updates. I have to say, those halloumi fries in that clubhouse are absolutely to die for. I'm absolutely convinced that at least 3 kilograms of my current weight are all Wilton Mill's fault, and I will take that information to the grave.
We've still got Jenga for karts going.
We have a
They're
little
trying
bit
to get into position.
Yeah, we have a little
drivers,
bit, but
with the help of the marshals.
Yeah, it's great work from the officials and the marshals here, by the way. They do this voluntarily. They are absolutely passionate about the motor racing, and we don't give the marshals and officials in motor racing enough credit. Without them, we can't do anything at all.
Exactly. We've seen some world-class marshalling over the years. I remember, or you may remember at Lyd in the bikes, Jake, where somebody went down big time,
yes,
and the
indeed.
marshal had the yellow flag out within a fraction of a second.
Yeah, it was about 0.3, 0.4 of a second they had straight on it. Here we go then. We're under starters' orders at Wilton Mill in the UK Kart Series Honda Cadet Final. Is Cian Sullivan going to make the bid already into oblivion? And yes, indeed. Oh, and there's contact, I think. A little bit of a spin.
Geraghty.
It is Geraghty. He already had his moment. But what about that for a recovery? He spun it, got straight back on the gas, and has managed to get himself right back into the heart of the midfield. So excellent reflexes there from Geraghty to spin it, but then keep going. So back at the front, Cian Sullivan is now into the lead of this race with Margaris Kavekis in that very cool camouflage style livery, the black and white, very reminiscent of the Red Bull F1 testing livery for a few years ago, running in second position in front of Albie Smith.
Now we're going to see what Rocco Geraghty particularly is made of as one driver runs wide there, because you come into this final in P3, you go off through turn 2, you spin it round and keep going, and now he's got to keep his head in the game and try and get the best result he can. If the best result for him is 6th, then get 6th. Don't come 16th.
Yeah, absolutely. You've just got to try and find the best that you can get from each opportunity. Cian Sullivan leads the way then from Margaret Skavekis, then Smith, McGall, Plant, Turner, Archie Rutter in front of Lorenzo Martin, Rebecca Restel and Rowan Marshall. Check out the duel that is already taking place a little further behind the race leaders. This is Plant, Turner and Rutter absolutely joined at the hip. A little bit of a shuffle of the deck here on the inside as Skavekis still holding on here in front of Albie Smith. Albie Smith looking for an opportunity to try and get into P2. 4th is McGall, look back. That is Matthew Plant, I believe, still doing a good job. And then you've got Turner, Rutter, Martin with Restel and Marshall a little way further back. But they're all conflagrating now. They're all sort of compressing into this same battle. And in the middle of all that is Rocco Geraghty, now up to 11th position and already giving hustle to Restel and Marshall.
Yeah, it was in 11th when he went through the line this time. We'll see the times updated. Fastest lap by Sullivan as he went through in the lead. Where is Rocco Geraghty? Still there in 11th, but I expect him to make up a number of places. This is a battle for 6th on screen.
Yeah, that's the move, I think, from Martin to get through on Archie Rutter. Here comes the move. Lorenzo Martin is through. Very nicely handled as further back. Rowan Marshall has got a little bit of duelling to come his way. Rocco Geraghty on the number 13 card, looking for the move to the inside, will dive, and that's P10. Lovely job from Rocco Geraghty. Absolutely nailing the apex on the inside line. That's 1 down and 4 to go just in this train.
Yep, we'll see where he goes from there. So he's into the top 10, Rocco Geraghty. He will be disappointed, no doubt.
Here comes the move again to the inside line. I thought there was going to be a bit of a rush there from Rutter to try and get back through to the inside line. Lorenzo Martin really starting to hustle Harvey Turner.
Quebec's fastest lap.
So far so good as McGall has managed to pull clear of Matthew Plant. Harvey Turner is the cork in the bottle here. This is where things could get tight as Lorenzo Martin in 7th position tries to find his own move because Rutter and Restel are getting very close in behind, and so too is Rocco Geraghty. Back with the leaders. Cian Sullivan had a decent gap over Margaret Skavekis, and Skavekis and Smith have actually worked together here to eat that advantage down again. They've got back on terms with him. He may have pulled a little bit of a gap, Cian Sullivan, originally, but Skavekis and Smith are not going to let him have this one too easy. They're going to get right back in the hunt.
Yeah, Skavekis on pole, knows he's the fastest man effectively on track. So he'll be confident, especially as he's closed down what was a decent lead by Sullivan. Sullivan had the fastest lap. We'll see what the lap times are as they go through. As the times pop out, there is a fastest lap by Sullivan again, but not for long. Skavekis now clearly got the fastest lap with a 54.5 and some change. So Skavekis now the fastest man on track in 2nd place.
Now keep an eye on Skavekis in comparison to Cian Sullivan. I noticed that he's taking slightly different lines to the leader, and that's the opportunity that he has being in 2nd position. He can read where Sullivan's going, try and pitch the kart in a slightly different position, and try and gain just that little bit of extra momentum. It's a brilliant advantage to be in 2nd position right in behind the leader because you can see what they're doing and adapt to it. I always loved in my rental karting excurts being the guy chasing, because you can always suss out what the leader's doing and try and make the benefit come your way. You can see where they're vulnerable, you can see where they're weak, and that's exactly the strategy that's working out for Skavekis, as again, big defensive moves from Harvey Turner, trying to keep Lorenzo Martin at bay. And look who's next in line, it's Geraghty. He's already made up 2 places as Skavekis once again bangs in the fastest lap of the race, but Geraghty is already trying to take on Lorenzo Martin. And look, Cian Sullivan, the race leader, having to go defensive on Skavekis.
Yeah, it's close at the front. The 2 leaders, Sullivan, Skavekis. Albie Smith just dropped back slightly. Looks like it could be between these 2, but Albie Smith has got track position. We've seen this. We saw it at Hoop Park last year in one race in particular where the 2 leaders tangled. If you're in 3rd place, you'll pick up all the pieces, and that's what he'll be hoping for.
Big run wide from Skavekis though as they went through, and that's obviously going to cost him quite a bit of time there. He's going to have to try and find a method of getting back into this. So Sullivan has now managed to build up a little bit of a gap there as well.
Yeah,
so
decent gap.
Skavekis now has Albie Smith for company, and it's that kind of psychological disadvantage that can really pay dividends for Albie Smith. This is all going to be about what Skavekis can do to respond now.
Yeah, so Sullivan set his fastest lap last time round, but it wasn't the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, Geraghty, sorry, apologies to cut you off, but Geraghty's got past Martin now, so he's into 7th.
Okay, so there you go. That just shows you he's kept his head in the game. and he's still in the mix as they go up into Christmas corner one more time. Out of Christmas, they go through this little left-handed kink. The right-hander here is Inkerman, as that brings them down to Ashby, Jake.
Yes, indeed, and Ashby is one of the prime corners to make a move. Geraghty not quite close enough to Harvey Turner to make that happen yet, as they go into Wilkins, through the left, and then up towards Osiers. This is where you can really get a decent benefit. You go slow in and fast out, and that looks to me exactly what Geraghty's done as he goes down the back straight, but that's good placement from Turner. Can he hold it as they go into the boot? He has a think about the inside line, but he knows that he's going to have the outside line for the next corner, and just the chain reaction of momentum, he gives him a little love tap on the way through the toe of the boot. And as they come out of pit bend onto the straight, the young man from Wolverhampton, Archie Rutter, is sensing an opportunity to try and move his way from ninth position. Geraghty trying to thread the eye of the needle as they go up Manuel's Bank. Through Fine Lady, very close, and now up into Christmas. Here comes the move from Geraghty. P6, lovely dub.
Good. I like to see him keeping his head in the game. He hasn't allowed the red mist to get the better of him. I said earlier, if 6 is the best you can get, then get 6. Don't let the red mist come down and end up in 16th because you're angry with yourself, you made a mistake, or somebody's knocked you off. Get the best result you can.
He's done it quite early on in the race still, so he does have time to close up on Matthew Plant and try and go for 5th position. 4th is going to be a job, but I think 5th position could be on.
5th place definitely on, 4th place just too far ahead, I think.
And now Cian Sullivan's got confidence. He's just banged in the fastest lap of the race out in front, so that's absolutely what he needed. Margaris Kavekis still doing the best he can to work his way further forward, with Albie Smith in 3rd position, still there or thereabouts. Luke McGall is having a race on his own, essentially, up in the front end, but Rocco Geraghty still has time to catch Matthew Plant. There's only a second between them, and the battle for 7th behind him now is raging. Turner, Martin, Rutter.
Sullivan 1.184 as he went across the line, so he's eking out a bit of a lead here, Jake. It could be a commanding advantage. 1.1 doesn't sound a lot, but that's a decent lead in karting.
Certainly is, and that's a good 6 to 7 kart lengths, and all you need is just that knowledge that the engine behind you that's chasing you down is not particularly loud. You can't really hear it in your helmet, and that means that you're not under too much pressure. You can just control your own pace and run at a fairly statutory level. Mind you, into the last lap, and Kavekis has gained a couple of tenths.
Yes, a couple of tenths.
Oh, he's really trying to make the move around the outside of the back markers, so this could actually come back to bite Cian Sullivan. He's got to keep his wits about him.
Yeah, now he's a couple of tenths closer, but Sullivan down the inside, the leader, he's got past the back marker.
Oh, that's masterful.
And that is the race win right there. Here comes Kavekis up the inside. He's closer to him, he's within half a second probably, but I don't think that's close enough here on the last lap.
I mean, it's going to be mighty close. If there's even a whisker of a chance, then he's absolutely going to go for it. Kavekis knows that they're on the last lap. If he gets even the slightest hint that a gap could open up, he will try, but Cian Sullivan has done enough out of the final turn, and it will be the victory for Cian Sullivan, and he can be absolutely delighted with it. Shows no emotion as he comes across the line, I noticed, just keeping it in check. Kavekis in a brilliant second from Albie Smith. Luke McGall will be B4 in front of Matthew Plant, and that is because Rocco Geraghty has just run out of time. He's done everything he could. He got to within 4/10 of a second, but it just wasn't enough. Good work, though, from Cian Sullivan to hang on in front of Margaris Kavekis despite all the pressure.
Yeah, good effort by Rocco Geraghty. We'll have a look at the official results. Just make sure there's been no exclusions. So it is Sullivan that wins it from Kavekis, Albie Smith, McGall, Plant, Geraghty, Turner, Martin, Rutter and Marshall. Good effort by Rocco Geraghty despite spinning off through turn 2. Ends up 15 seconds behind, but 6 was the best he could get, and 6 is what he got in the end.
Yeah, some really good racecraft from the drivers out there. Cian Sullivan managing to hold on despite Kavekis closing in, dropping back, then coming back at him again in that last lap. A lot of drivers would have lost their head.
Well, that's all we got time for in this first programme, but the second programme coming up very shortly. Don't go away, we'll see you again soon.